ठीक है, अभी 5 मिनट लगेगा, हमारा सेशन लाइव हो जाएगा।
मीर भाई
म्यूजिक एक्चुअली यहाँ पर ये सब यूएस कनेक्ट हो जाएंगे तो वो म्यूजिक रहेगा। यूएस
म्यूट कराइए
ये पूरा इंग्लिश चालू अभी वो ज्वाइन करेंगे ना तो वो थोड़ा सा ऑलरेडी
प्रेयर को नेक्स्ट
सर आप लोग जाएंगे
यस सामने
हाँ जी 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 यस
Good afternoon and greetings to everybody who have joined the session. I, Dr. Daksha Rathod, Assistant Professor, Department of Panchkarma, welcomes you all on behalf of GJ Patel Ayurved family. The statistical analysis of COVID-19 cases shows that the curve in India has already reached the peak and so the environmental crest of heat. The effect of Sharada are strongly felt and hence, keeping in conformity with the same, today's national webinar based on Sharadiya Panchkarma. Sun is the heart of the solar system. It is the life force for Earth. Equivalently, learned teachers show us the path of knowledge, upgrade us with their knowledge from their time to time, and always remain the source of inspiration and guidance for us. To our pleasure, we have received an opportunity to interact with two extremely reputed, knowledgeable, and motivating giants in the field of Ayurveda, Professor Dr. Anup Thakur sir and Professor Dr. Srinivas Hejmadi Acharya sir. Both are of international cadre. We are all eager to hear them. So let us start our auspicious function with the prayers.
महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ
very special for our institute as our parental organization Charuttar Vidya Mandal CVM is celebrating the Platinum Jubilee in 2020. The inception of Charuttar Vidya Mandal CVM took place on the eve of independence when the illuminating vision of great Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was received with incredible enthusiasm by Shri Bhai Kaka and Shri Bhikhabai Saheb. Educational township at Vidyanagar was not only the first planned university township of independence India but also a comprehensive hub of higher education. It provided schools and colleges of all major academic disciplines. It had elaborated plans for hostels, faculty quarters, playgrounds and parks. It was a dream scheme in the real sense of the term. The educational hub at Vidyanagar has grown many folds under the visionary leaderships of Shri H.M. Patel sir, an ICA professor of great reputation who served from 1958 to 1993, and Shri C.L. Patel sir, former executive engineer in Gujarat Electricity Board, who served CVM from 1994 to 2018. Engineer Shri Bhikkhubhai Patel sir succeeded Shri C.L. Patel sir as the President Chairman of Charotar Vidya Mandal. Under his energetic leadership, Charotar Vidya Mandal has established CVM University. Our college, G.J. Patel Institute of Ayurvedic Studies and Research, was founded in the year 2006 with the motto of establishing a unique, all-encompassing Ayurvedic institute with unlimited facilities, unmatched excellence under the competent administration of Principal Dr. Malhari Sardesh Pandey sir. We are determined to establish a model Ayurvedic institute to meet the global expectations. Our Panchkarma department offers all the available treatment modalities of Panchkarmas for the well-being of patients. Our institute is well geared with all Panchkarma equipments and competent staff in male and female units. With this short introduction of CVM University, GJPISR and our Panchkarma department, I request the head of our GJPIRS family, Dr. Maruhari Sardesh Pandey sir, Professor and HOD Dravegun department, to deliver welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Daksha madam. It's a great pleasure for me to have a national webinar in this pandemic era of COVID. Actually, as our Honorable Secretary Rajubhai Kotecha sir says, Ayurveda is the strength of our country, India. And all Ayurveda fraternity knows that Panchakarma is our strength, that of Ayurveda. This webinar is arranged by Panchakarma department of G.J. Patel Ayurveda College. And on behalf of Charotar Vidya Mandal University, as you know, it is working since last 1 year, and within 1 year only it has made one benchmark in the field of education. G.J. Patel Ayurveda College is a constituent college of this CVM Charotar Vidya Mandal University. So on behalf of Charotar Vidya Mandal University, on behalf of G.J. Patel Ayurveda College, and also on behalf of Panchakarma department, I welcome the eminent speakers, Dr. Anup Thakur sir and Dr. Srinivas Hizmari Acharya sir. Srinivas Hizmari Acharya sir was my teacher during my PG, and everyone in field of Ayurveda knows that he is a eminent academician as well as a giant, as said by Daksha Ben, clinician also. Particularly in the field of Panchakarma, such areas are there which are the great strength during the various courses of diseases, particularly in the neurological section and all these lifestyle disorders. But our today's topic is regarding that, not exactly regarding the COVID, but as we are facing that worldwide problem, these two eminent scholars are focusing on this particular contribution of Panchakarma in this era. Professor Anup Thakur sir, who is in charge VC of Gujarat Ayurveda University, as well as his director of IPGT and RA, a very young, dynamic, enthusiastic person. As it will be introduced by our faculties also, I will not go in the detailed introduction of these two eminent personalities in the field of Ayurveda. But I welcome you, sir, Anup Thakur, sir, Hejmadi Acharya, sir. At the same time, I welcome the participants, clinicians, doctors, academicians, teachers, and also the students who are willing to gain the treasure of knowledge from this really learned and very sincere scholars, eminent personalities in the field of Ayurveda. So, welcome you all, and over to Dakshaben for the further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we move on to our first inaugural session of oration. If anyone has any questions, please drop your queries in the chat box. I request Dr. Gayatri Gande ma'am, Professor and HOD Panchkarma Department, to introduce our first guest speaker, Honorable Director of IPGT and RA, Gujarat Ayurveda University, Professor Dr. Anup Thakur sir. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Daksha. Good afternoon to everyone. It's my privilege to formally introduce our vibrant guest speaker, Professor Dr. Anup Thakur, sir. Sir is presently functioning as a director and concurrently the Vice Chancellor of the very prestigious Institute of Postgraduate Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, Gujarat Ayurveda University. As we all know, sir is the head of Panchkarma Department of IPGT and RA. He is the chairman of the Departmental Research Committee of the Panchakarma Department. Sir has also worked as program director for the International Center of Ayurvedic Studies of Gujarat Ayurveda University. Sir is Senate, Syndicate and PG board member of GAU Jamnagar. He's been working in the academic field since last 20 years. We had the opportunity to work under him actually. The number of students have been awarded MD and PhD degrees under his directorate. He is the backbone of research activities carried out in IPGT and RA Jamnagar. He also has played a key role in several WHO projects like preparing of a manual on simple Ayurvedic herbal formulations for common ailments, developing a recruitment rules for Ayush personnel, identification of genomics correlating Prakriti in healthy individuals in West Indian population of Gujarat. The project in collaboration with CSIR and IGIB, it's like Ayurgenomics unit. He has also played a vital role in evaluating products of prominent Ayurveda pharma companies like Vasu and Gufic. We have been using those products very regularly in our OPDs. He is presently working on the WHO project of development of a base paper for regional consultation on enhancement communication between traditional medicine practitioners and modern medical practitioners. He has been awarded WHO Fellowship on Information, Education and Communication in Public Health at Ministry of Public Health, Nunthaburi, Thailand in November 2009. He has a number of publications of research studies and articles to his credit. He is a speaker of international repute who has delivered speeches for the propagation of Ayurveda in countries like Switzerland, France, Japan, Germany, UK, Hungary, Sri Lanka, as well as Hong Kong. So we are privileged to hear from the versatile personality like Professor Dr. Anup Thakur, sir. Everybody is impatient to hear, so I'm very much aware that we are like taking a lot of time for the main. So without wasting time, let us move. I hand over the session to Professor Dr. Anup Thakur sir, who is going to guide us on seasonal aspects of Panchakarma. Welcome you all. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri, for a very nice introduction. First of all, I would like to congratulate CVM administration and all the authorities for getting the deemed university status. It will open many doors for CVM, and I am sure CVM administration is very active, and now this college will have a good after it is being a deemed university. Today's speaker, Professor Acharya sir, Principal Dr. Malhari ji, Head of the Department Dr. Gayatri Gandhe, and Dr. Kundan Chaudhary ji. Actually ये आप अपना शेयर बंद करेंगे तो मैं शेयर कर पाऊंगा. Hello. 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 Hello.
माहिती शेअर करवानी છે
PPT सर इधर नहीं है
सर के पास
सर के पास है
उसको उनको शेयर करना
कैसे करेंगे वॉल्यूम
आपण जसे माहिती बंद करी
लैपटॉप में नहीं होगा वो डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया अभी ओके वो डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया
हाँ. Hello. हाँ. Hello. हाँ. Hello.
हाँ सर बताइए
हाँ. I am audible?
यस सर यू आर ऑडिबल
Okay. I'm sharing the screen. Just a minute. बीच में there was a problem actually. I is it visible?
No sir no sir
स्क्रीन शेयर की
1 second. बालक ने बोला
जी सर.
I just call a technical person why it is not being shared.
Okay, okay.
Screen is being shared, but that PPT is not getting open.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. ભાઈ તા એક PPT શેર કરવું છે થતું નથી. PPT શેર કરવું કરી દે ને. સર મીટિંગ માં છે ને બ્લુ ટાઈમ બોલાવશે એને આપણે કઈ ગયા વખતે કર્યું છે.
वो स्क्रीन शेयर करने में अगर वो ऐसे ही स्पीच देते तो भी चलेगा ना स्क्रीन के PPT उनके लिए तो करने तो भी ठीक है ना विदाउट PPT.
Anyhow, I will start my talk. Meanwhile, they will fix the PPT. I'm sorry for inconvenience caused. Actually, you know, Panchkarma or anything means seasons. Today's topic is Panchkarma according to season. Now, why season has been given importance in the Ayurveda? Sing aloud.
हेलो
presenting gama batade sa batadu નથી પેલા સેટિંગ ની મમ્મા આપણે એને કરી મીટિંગ રિક્વેસ્ટ માટે સેટિંગ Sorry for inconvenience. I am not able to upload this thing. So I will, I'm sorry, I'm not able to share the presentation, but I will start. Actually, consideration of season in Ayurveda is very important. Diet, dincharya, ritucharya, collection of drugs, panchkarma, everything has been considered with the season in Ayurveda. Means according to season, they have mentioned the diet. According to seasons, you have to follow the dincharya. According to seasons, you have to follow the ritucharya. And even the collection of our drugs for the treatment also has been, considered according to the season. And of course, panchkarma is also mentioned according to season. Now, what is the concept of the health and swasthya? Actually, health is a state of complete physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of the disease, according to WHO. But our definition of health is, very, very elaborative and complete definition. It is that Agni, Mal, Dhatu, Atma, Indriya, Man, everything has been considered. Means every aspect, you can say it's a holistic definition of the swasthya. And when every component of your body and soul and mind are according to their normalcy or in the balance, then only we consider them as a swasthya. So samadosha, samadnischa, samadhatu, malakriya, prasanna atmendriya mana swasthaitya vidhiyate. Now this prasanna atmendriya mana, that has been addition. Means, okay, everybody thinks that your body is fit, mentally you are fit, and then they consider that you are swasth. But sometimes we also know that physically, if you go to any lab and you have any tests and all that things, there is no imbalance or there is no issue with your body. You are very well comfortable with that. But then even you are not swasth, you know very well. So there Ayurveda comes that prasanna atmendriya mana. And when the prasanna mana and prasanna atma will be there, when all the function of your body, even the smallest cell and every channel, sotas are clear, your sleep is good, your diet is good, your Agni is good, your mala, nivrutti and all that things are good, then only you will feel swasth. So that's important. And in that case, every season has its own impact on your body. If there is a very cold, it has an impact on your body. If there is a rain, it has an impact on your body. If it is a hot, it has an impact on your body. If even summer rutu, that also has a particular impact on your body. And this seasonal impact on your body, no other science has been considered as Ayurveda has considered sensibly. And that's why all the things Ayurveda has planned according to season, considering all the seasons. And if we consider the Pradurбhava of the Ayurveda, origin of the Ayurveda in the India is lucky in that way, particularly Asian countries. Forget about the northern countries like Japan and all the things, they are very, or Russia, where very much cold is there. Otherwise, India and all other countries around Southeast Asian countries are blessed with all three seasons, means rainy season, winter season, and the Grishma Rutu, means summer. So these seasons, and above all this season comes with the extreme. Even in the northern part, if you see, the cold is also extreme, heat is also at extreme, and even in some of the area, rain is also at extreme. So all those bodies, all those seasons have strong impact on your body, and that impact plays a role how healthy you will be, what kind of the secretions in your body, what will be the status of your Agni, your mind, and according to that your status of the health will be there. Swastha is we can divide two types. That's Yadracha Swastha, means healthy by chance, and Bishak Paripalit Swach, means healthy by practice. I'm really sorry I am not able to present my slides, otherwise you would have understood this very well. Yadracha Swastha means just you are just not aware about anything about the season, how to follow the Dincharya, Rutucharya, and you just eating and sleeping just in routine, but you are healthy. But sometime you may feel low, or sometime you may feel that you are not perfectly fit. There the accumulation of dosha, sanchay or prakop is there. You may feel like that, but from inside you are feeling that something is going on, something is happening in my body, you are not feeling fit, and there the shodhana is required according to season. In the other case, it's a full charge battery, like full charge battery. Bishak Paripalita means healthy by practice. Like Vaidyas, we know where to eat, means if Sharad Rutu is there, or even in the Varsha Rutu, one should not eat much more spicy and sour things. Amla and Katoras should be avoided, because if we will do that thing, then there will be accumulation of pitta, there will be prakop of pitta, and then there will be diseases of pitta. So we know this. So whomsoever is aware, whomsoever is getting advice from the physician, Vaidya, regularly, he will follow the diet according to season, and so he won't get the disease and won't land in the disease at according to season. And so he is hitahar vihar sevi. He won't have a problem. But who is not following the hitahar vihar, for them shodhan is must, because if he won't do shodhan according to season, then there will be issue of the getting the disease according to dosha. So what factors influence the swasthya is a dincharya, ratricharya, ritucharya, and rasayana, and shodhana. Principle behind shodhana in swasthya is a dosha, kshina, bruhaitavya, kupitaha, prashamaitavya, and vruddhaha, nirhartavya. Means whatever the doshas are kshina, you have to maintain their level. Who has been increased, you have to again you have to remove it from the body and maintain their level. And who are kupit, if you can, means aggravated, you have to subside them by the treatment. And if you cannot subside, then nirhartavya means remove them by panchakarma, and then sama paripalyaha means who are in the balance. Then if once you have created balance, that doesn't mean it's forever it is balanced. You have to maintain it. Samaha paripalyaha. So very beautiful principle this Shushrut has given in Chikitsastan. And if we follow this principle in the treatment, you will never get fail. Many where they have mentioned in Ashtanga Hriday and in the Charak also, like Grishma, Prayoho, Maruto Pitto, Vasanta, Kapamarute, Maruto Yoga Vahitvat, Kapapitte tu Sharada. Many references are there. Even for the dosha, it has been said that Kayagnim Badate Rogam Statah Prakrute Bahunah Tasmad Vasante Karmani Vamanadini Kare. That Charak said. Right? Charak Sutra said this thing. Sanchaye Abhrita Dosha Labante Notara Gati Te Tuttara Suhu Gatishu Bhavanti Balavattara. Means in Sanchay time only, if accumulated doshas are removed, they won't get progression and they won't cause any disease. So many where they have mentioned that according to season, you should follow the Shodhana, then you won't get disease. Then very important reference Ashtang Sangrah has given that Pramad Pankepi Mano Panko Avashyam Bhavatyatah Uttisthet Yathakalam Malaram Shodhanam Pratit. Means if there is an accumulation of water, if water is clean, even like in the season, rainy season, after completion of the rainy season, if there is a river, even it's a flowing water, then even it will be clear. But after some time, then it starts to get muddy. Even in the coop or in vessels, you have water for a long time. Slowly it started to get muddy. So whenever it started to get muddy, it started to get some mud or what's it's called any type of हिंदी में जिसको हम कहेंगे ना कि कचरा इकट्ठा होना. I'm not getting the proper word. So when this kind of mud gets started, you need to clean it, you need to remove it, then only it is possible that water will be clean ever. And that's why if water is stored in one vessel for a longer time, you are not able to use, because then there will be a contamination by all these things. So you have to always clean it. The same principle applies to your body, that gradually all these malas, toxins get accumulated by the day-to-day function of your body, and then those accumulation periodically you have to remove. And this removal is the only way is panch karma, because detox of the body and many words you might have heard, but all these are not effective as panch karma is effective. If each and every cell, if you really want to remove the dosha, panch karma is the most effective way to do that thing. So there are 5 karmas are mentioned: Vamana, Virechan, Basti and Nasya. And I'm not going in detail because I have only 20 minutes and already I have spoiled 10-20 minutes by trying to upload the PPT. Why Shodhana is essential? So accumulation of the ama means metabolic toxins in the body. Then the impaired dhatu poshan, if there is a accumulation ama is there, then there will be impaired dhatu poshan. So the nutrition chain will be blocked or break. So there will be a not proper nutrition. And then there are the chances that if proper nutrition is not there, and if there is a srota avarodha due to ama, there are chances of the getting disease. And so remove the srota avarodha, to remove those toxins, panchkarma or shodhana is essential. There are 3 main causes of the dosha, that pragyaparada, asatma indriya artha sanyoga and parinama. So these are 3 factors. Above that, Vega Vidharana and Rutu Apachara. These are also the causes of the disease. If in this season, this is a mixed Rutu, means a season, mixed season. Sometime it is hot, sometime it is evening, and morning it's a pleasant or little bit cool at night, and in the daytime it's hot, and sometimes there is a very much humidity nowadays. Since 1 or 2 days there is a western disturbance, and so there is an increased humidity. So all these things getting changed, and your body is trying to get accommodate with that. During those days, if you don't follow the dinacharya, means if you are taking a very katu thing these days, very sour amla things these days, you are taking heavy diet these days, you are doing ratri jagarana these days, or divaswap in these days, you are supposed to get disease, because it's a rutu apachar. So if you will do rutu apachar, then there will be accumulation of dosha and you will get disease. And that's why after every season they have mentioned about the Shodhan according to Rutu. And this Shodhan according to Rutu will prevent you from the many things. You are very well aware about the when it gets accumulated, like in Vasant Rutu, the kapha should be removed. In the Varsha Rutu, the Vata should be removed, and in the Sharad Rutu, the Pitta should be removed. So in the Hemant, there is accumulation, that is around December, January, there is accumulation of kapha, and in Vasant Rutu, that is around February, March, it is a aggravation of kapha, and then it should be removed. Then the Grishma Rutu, in April, May, there is a Vata accumulation, and then the Pravrut Rutu means during June, July, there is a Vata aggravation, and during those days, that Shodhan should be there. And then in Varsha Rutu, this around August, September, Pitta accumulation is there, and then in Sharad, that is around October, November, Pitta aggravation is there, and then Virechan should be done. I'm sorry. So this, there can be a changes in the month because if we start from the south, different season depicts a different time. If you go to the Kerala, in the February only, there is a January or February only, there is a flowering on the amra. I give the example from that. And in the March, or in the March, not even March, in the February, I have seen the mangoes on the tree in the Kerala. So Vasant starts from there and gradually goes to northern side, and at the end, means in the last, it comes in the north. So it is easily understandable by the giving an example of the ripening of the mango, that in Kerala it comes around early March, early end of the February or early March. Then in the Karnataka and in the Maharashtra, Ratnagiri, this Alfonso Hapus comes around April, and late March and early April it comes. Then come to Gujarat, it's a Kesar. It comes in the May naturally. Nowadays everybody artificially get its ripened, and that's a different issue. And then if you go to the north, the Dashahari and the Chausa and all that thing, Langdo, everything comes in the June. So according to that, there are the changes in the month, but more or less these are the month I have discussed. And so Charak has very clearly mentioned that Madhave Prathame Masi, Navasya Prathame Punah, Sasya Prathame Cheva, Harayat Dos Sanchaya. What is Madhav? Madhav is a Vaishak. And Madhave Prathame means before Madhav, that is Chaitra. You remove the Kapha dosha. Then Nabasya Prathame Punah. Naba means that is Bhadrapad. And in Shravan, you should remove the Vata. And then Sahasya Prathame Cheva. Saha means Margashirsh. And Saha means Pushya, and Margashirsh is the month where you should remove the Pitta. But broadly, if you consider, it comes around October, November. Sharad Purnima is very famous around Navratri and all the things. This season, we are just approaching the Sharad. Now almost Sharad has been started. So these are the season where you should remove the dosha, and because I'm not able to show the slides, I'm not able to share many things. I'm sorry for that. But I wanted to share many papers according to this seasonal purification has been published and what impact it has been on the body. In the Scientific World Journal, it has been published on that 2013 June 6, that clinical detoxification, elimination of persistent toxicant from the human body. It is by the Stephen Zenas and Margaret Sears, and then all the authors. No Indian author is there, and it says that toxicant bio accumulation and has impacts on health, and it is likely that elimination of toxicants or clinical detoxification will gain status as a foremost aspect of mainstream medical practice. They suggest that this Panchakarma practice should be applied to everybody, and if we practice this Shodhan according to season, that will be a wonderful thing to the humanity, and it will remove the toxins before you get disease. Even in the COVID, it was said that if somebody has a Panchakarma prior to, according to season, if you're healthy, somebody goes for Virachan, of course you have to take utmost care that you don't get COVID during this Panchakarma, because during Panchakarma everybody is vulnerable, so we have to take care. But once you did it, then your immunity at the peak, and very less chances are there that you will get disease by any of these infectious diseases. At Jamnagar also we have conducted many studies, and one study we conducted on the seasonal Panchakarma in Vasant Rutu. More than 30 patients we conducted women, and another study also is there, and it shows that there is a significant fall in the plasma adrenaline, plasma histamine and ESR, insignificant increase in plasma dopamine and plasma noradrenaline. There was an improvement in Agni and for the volunteers of women. We did in this volunteers, and maximum volunteer developed a regular bowel habit with normal consistency of stool after woman. Improvement in the heaviness of abdomen after woman was also observed. There was an improvement in duration of sleep in volunteers after woman. Statistically insignificant decrease in LDL and total cholesterol was also noticed. Actually, nowadays everybody says that everybody is also aware that only Gritpan or all these things is not responsible for the increase in the cholesterol, but we have many data that across the road in Jamnagar there is a medical college, and whenever some people, particularly faculty or their family, comes for this Shodhana, and when we say that we will go for this Gritapan, they are afraid that what will happen to the cholesterol and all that things, and I assure them that it's my guarantee, at least it won't increase, but I have experienced that it decreases, and many times it happens that after completion of Virachan or woman, there is a fall in the cholesterol. This is a totally different aspect we won't discuss today. It is a totally different topic, and sometime we will get the chance, we will discuss it. So these all impacts are there. With Virachan also, there are many studies are there, and it removes pitta, it improves the BMI, it controls weight, it have many positive impacts on your body. Then the Basti also enhances the absorption of nutrients from the cecum and ascending colon, influences the immune function of the body by production of T helper cells, leukocytes, cytokinase and modulation lymph mechanism. So these are the, I'm quoting the study, but I'm sorry I'm not able to share the slides. But these are the studies has reported the impact of the Panchakarma. Even there is a there are paper, and the most important paper I would like to share with you is by many authors are there, including Deepak Chopra, and has been published in the Nature. That is the identification of altered metabolic profiles following Panchkarma-based Ayurvedic intervention in healthy subjects. The self-directed, they have given the name Panchkarma, the self-directed biological transformation initiative, SBTI. And what they report means 65 healthy male and female subjects were subjected to Panchkarma, and what they have reported that Panchkarma promoted statistically significant changes in plasma levels of phosphatidylcholine, sphingomyelins, and others in just 6 days. And these are the important, means whatever that phosphatidylcholine and this sphingomyelins are actually protect the liver from the disease, and they participate in the many signaling pathways, means they improve the signaling pathways. So the clearance of the channels. So many scientific studies are there. Even the gut microbe theory is I think everybody knows about this gut microbe theory nowadays, gut microbiome. And gut microbiome is the entity which controls all the function of your body. It is believed. And tomorrow is about the microbiomes. Antibiotic word may be obsolete tomorrow, and microbiome will be the in-word or buzzword of the tomorrow. And Panchkarma is the treatment which has a great impact on microbiome. And I think these seasons have an impact on the status of your microbiome, and Panchkarma corrects that whatever the derangement in the friendly microbiomes is there. I think Panchkarma is correcting it, particularly by Basti, Virechana and Vamana. It will have a very good impact. Even Nasya, Shiro Virechana also might be having an impact in the, not on the gut microbiome, but particularly in the area of the nasal area and the in the brain also. It might have an impact, but more studies are not about that, so I'm not quoting or telling much more about that. But at least Vamana, Virechan and Basti have I'm sure about that, even in the Abhyang, has a great impact on the microbiomes, and this impact plays a bigger role. And the gut microbiomes have a great impact on the brain. So it is also a theory that your guts is another brain. So that's how the Panchkarma might be effective. There is another study has been published in the Ayu about the Ritucharya, answer to lifestyle disorder, including Panchkarma. In that study also, it has been reported that this seasonal Panchkarma has a very positive role to play on your life, on your health. Lastly, I would like to quote one study which we conducted in my department. That whatever study we are conducting, means particularly, whatever the Snehapan we are doing, I was trying to study Aksha Snehapan and Sanskarit grit. I always recommend, and I always says that if you are going for Shodhana, you should go for Akshapan, not Sanskarit. But even the classic, it has been told that if there is a Pitta Prakop is there, or excessive Pitta is there, and particularly in the Sharad Ritu, you should go for a Sanskarit grit. Then the Sneha Jiryamana Lakshana means when the Sneha is being digestion, there are symptoms like Shiro Ruja and Arati and all that things happen. That can be reduced if the Sanskarit grit is given, because there is a lot of pith already. And if you are giving grit during the digestion, there will be again a secretion of the bile, and that may create a difficulty for the person. And so it causes headache and all that things. And so Sanskarit Grit, if it is given, that will help. So we have a study, and in that study, what we do in Sharad Rutu, when the Grit was given with the milk, we were studying that what is the impact of the Achapan or with a Pravicharana. So for Pravicharana, we selected milk and we add the Grit in the milk, and then it was given. And we found that in the patients whom the Achapan was given, headache and arati was much more, almost double in comparison to patient to whom the Snehapan was given with the only 150 ml milk was additionally given with that Grit. And that helped a lot because milk is having a pitta pacifying effect. So this kind of the things we have studied, and so according to season Panchakarma, we should think many ways, of course, Shodhan, and how to facilitate to the body of the patient, means to the comfort of the patient, and do Panchakarma. That also we have to decide according to season. So season has even in the same way, when you are doing the Panchakarma in Vasant Rutu, and if you give a Shuddha Grit to drink, there are chances that during the Snehapan only there will be a Kapha Prakop. So for that, if you give any like things that peya added with black pepper or something which do not aggravate kapha, if that is given with that will control the symptoms and help the patient. So this way also we can consider the different aspect of the season in the conduct of the Panchakarma. It's a very vast subject, and half an hour is a very less. And actually, this without eye-to-eye communication and without the direct communication, it is difficult to explain all the things, because I am speaking right now, but I am just speaking in front of the laptop, and without any expression, seeing expression of the participants, it's difficult to speak. But then even this is a Corona call, and we have to do these things, so we are trying our level best to communicate the thing. I'm not sure without the PPT how I was the successful to communicate whatever I wanted to say. I'm able to communicate to you, I don't know, but I have tried to communicate what I want to say to you. Again, I am thankful to all the organizers for inviting me and giving me chance to share my views with you. Thank you.
The speech was too good, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your illuminating thoughts on the topic. It was really pleasure to listen to you, sir. Now we move on to our next valuable session. I request Dr. Kundan Chaudhary, sir, Associate Professor, Panchakarma Department, to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Srinivas Tejmadi Acharya, sir, Distinguished Professor, Panchakarma Department, AIIA, New Delhi, under Ayush Ministry. Over to you, sir.
Namaste, sir. Dr. Srinivas is a very well-known personality in the field of Ayurveda. He is presently serving as a distinguished professor in Panchakarma at All India Institute of Ayurveda under Ayush Ministry, New Delhi, since October 2018. Dr. Srinivas Tejmadi Acharya sir is MD and PhD in Ayurveda. He has graced the Gujarat Ayurveda University by serving for 24 years and took voluntary retirement in 2011 as Professor of Panchakarma and also as a Director of International Center for Ayurvedic Studies of Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar. Post-retirement, he extended services to esteemed IPG RA, Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar, as visiting professor of Panchakarma for 2 years till 2016. Professor Dr. S.H. Acharya sir is basically from Udupi, Karnataka. He graduated from Government Ayurveda Medical College, Mysore in 1981, did MD in Ayurveda in 1985 from IPGTNRA, Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar, and PhD in 1991 from the same university. Professor Dr. Acharya sir has several awards and honors to his credit. He is awarded Fellow of Rashtriya Ayurveda Vidyapit, Ayush Ministry in 2020, as well as Fellow of Academy of General Education, Manipal, 1985. He is Honorable Member of Brazilian Ayurveda Association. He is presently Advisor of Ayurveda to the Government of Republican of Cuba since 2017. He has been delivering lectures and presenting papers in various national and international conferences. Sir has conducted frequent training workshops on Panchakarma at many countries abroad like USA, Canada, Latin American countries, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Cuba, Costa Rica, Europe, Israel, and Japan, etc. He has authored the book The Science of Marma in Ayurveda Diagnosis and Treatment, first published 1998 and second English edition published in 2010. This book is also published in Germany 2010 by Narayan Garlic Inc. Today, Professor Dr. Acharya sir is going to bless us on the topic revisiting Shanita Avasechana, bloodletting in the context of health. Over to you, Acharya sir. Please, sir.
Leave हो गया make sure we have finished.
सो ज्वाइन नहीं किया अभी निकल गया शायद वो क्या है कि ज्वाइन करने के लिए फोन डिस्कनेक्ट कर दिया यस
Hello, am I audible there? Yes. Okay.
Shall we put up the presentation, sir?
Yes, maybe better because sharing is not going, it is getting disconnected.
Sure, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, it is being shared, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anyway, while you are putting it on, I am very much happy that I will be sharing few things that I am invited by your institute. I thank our principal, Dr. Sardesh Pandey, Dr. Gayatri, and all the other staff there. So, what I have opted to talk, because I do have a very small time, because my webinar will be continuing with another webinar too. So I will try to rush the matter. I have opted in such a manner that I am audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yes, that's fine. So we all hear about Panchakarma, and we practice Panchakarma also in many levels. There are few aspects, actually, the areas which are ignored. Mostly because most of our practice does not reflect what we call as classical Ayurveda practice, or we call it Shastrokta Ayurveda practice. So this trend has made us little bit away from Ayurveda Shastras and classical practice, and the success rate also from our practice. I thought that today I will touch up, because I was asked, which is something connected with Sharad Rutu, and I have to present, and also the Shonitava Sechana. So I thought that I will touch such an aspect, because Rakta Dhatu concept is something we have not completely understood, particularly the practitioners of Ayurveda, in terms of health. I am talking in terms of health. In terms of disease, maybe a couple of diseases we do, and we try to do Rakta Sechana. That is also in a very limited aspect, like applying Jalauka, or few people practicing Siravyada. I am talking throughout the country. This is the situation. Particularly, we do this Rakta Sechana in diseases like either in Kushta or maybe in Vata Rakta, where it is best recommended. But we forget the entire area of application of this Rakta Sechana, and also the importance of Rakta and health. I speak this because, in my experience, not only in India, but also traveling abroad, I have seen the entire human population suffers from three important dushtis, which are the main basis for all the illnesses that we are coming across, whether it is an autoimmune disorders, connective tissue disorders, or it is diabetes, it is hypertension, or even cancers. But three important things I have seen through my consultations, even abroad in foreign countries. It is common platform, whether you are in India or not. One is Grahani dosha, Grahani dushti. We practitioners ignore. Number two is there are maximum number of Rakta Dushita human beings. They are not sick people, they are healthy, but still we see maximum dushana of human beings throughout the globe. The third one is Shukra Dushti. Most of the conditions of illnesses, including autoimmune disorders, as we speak about, or allergic disorders, or even malignancies, they are all aptly connected to the Dushti concept. So I thought that I should speak little bit within the small time that I have, because I am not going to talk anything on the research, but I will try to limit what exactly Charaka Samhita says. My talk will be connected with the Vidishoniti Adhyaya of Charaka Sutra Sthana. Why we need to look into, as you can see on the slide, because we are almost, though we are very good Ayurveda practitioners, but we are almost inclining to a drug trial based knowledge, which is a modern medical practice. We only look, even our research is going for a drug trial based research. So this limits our knowledge of Ayurveda. This is one point. Second point is, our always approach is towards the disease, illness. We are more into Vyadhipratinikas. We are least concerned about the health status of an injury. We have to change our approach towards the health-based therapeutic program. This is very much important. And on this platform, I consider Vidishoniti is a very good chapter. You know this, can I have a next slide? Can I have a next slide?
Yes, sir.
So this is what I call as ethical practice of Ayurveda based in the class, that's I say. Though Charaka Samhita, he says there are three kinds of Vaidyas in this world. As you people are know, he categorizes this. One is Chadmachara Bishak, that he shows that who has some information try to become doctor on his own. The second one is a very good school educated, the Guru Shiksha Parampara educated person, Siddha Siddha Vaidyas. The third one is a Pranabhisara Vaidya. And it is also called Jivitabhisara Vaidya in Vidishwanitya Adhyaya itself. Charaka has that. It's very hard to find such a Vaidyas, but at least we should be Siddha Siddha Vaidyas. For that, we need to change our practice of practicing trend of Ayurveda. Can I have the next please? So what I actually refer to before coming to this slide, we know in Charaka Sutrasthana there are Chatushkas. I am now getting into the Yojana Chatushka. You people are aware of this Yojana Chatushka beginning with Ashtav Ninditiyas from Langana Brahmani Adhyaya, from the Santarpaniyam, and then Vidishwanityam is the fourth Yojana Chatushka. It's a beautiful 4 chapters where the author of the Charaka Samhita tried to give you a special dimension to the approaches, clinical approaches. First dimension he gives Ashtav Ninditiya, where actually these are not the illnesses which are categorized to be under Vyadhi and Vyadhi Chikitsa and Chikitsa Sutra. Rather, many of the Ashtav Ninditiya, he says that they cannot be treated. They are connected truly with the metabolic and the growth disorders. So only among them probably he refers to is the Sthaulya and Krisha. Atisthula and Atikrisha is the one which can be referred. This is a dimension of clinical platform that he presents, not just illnesses that the doctor sees, but he must see these dimensions also and try to manage them. This is one. Second is Langana Brahmaniya. Entire Ayurvedic therapies are being included into the Langana Brahmaniya, or Shodhanas and Shamanas. Everything is there. Within the Shodhanas, within the Langanas, there are Shodhanas which he says that Chatishprakara Samshuddhi, where he has included the Chatishprakara Samshuddhi, as you people know, Vamana, Vireshana, Niruha, and Shiro Virechana. There is no Rakta Mokshana there. There are only 4 Samshuddhis. And we need to somewhere inculcate into this. I use this diagram. I have been using this few decades that I made this diagram to explain the basic ethics, conceptual basis of Panchakarma. That you see there are 3 Roga Margas, Abhyantara, Madhyama and Bahya Roga Margas in this design I have made. And you can see the 3 compartments in the Abhyantara Roga Marga as the Moolasthana of the doshas, Amashaya, Pachyaman and Pakvashaya. You know that the Vamana, Virechana and Basti, they act on Amashaya, Pachyamanashaya and Pakvashaya. And they can do Shodhana to the entire body, but they act there only. This is very much important. Therefore, 3 are very important. Where are the other do? For example, Nasya is acting. Where is Rakta Mokshana is acting? This is where we go to the other Margas, and these Shodhanas have their limitations. Rakta Mokshana is actually acting on the Shakha. Therefore, the Shakhagata Rogas that you read always treat with Rakta Mokshana. And particularly Rakta is the Ashaya there. Whenever the Drishti is there, we remove it. But to explain this, that this diagram I used, where in the Panchakarma that these can be. Nasya Karma is actually from the Madhyama Roga Marga. Shiras is a Marma, it falls into the Madhyama Roga Margas. Actually, this is a very beautiful embryonic concept, developmental concept that we have these 3 Roga Margas. I will not go detail into this, but definitely to inculcate where actually the Shonitha Avasechana is coming and what is the limitation and what is the beauty. This is very much important for us. Can I have the next slide? So when we talk about the health, illness, I use this, I made this. This is a pendulum. I call this pendulum of doshas, and they have always with these thanas, titikshayas in entire day, night, and they are going on. Therefore, they are like a disturbed pendulum. I use this model from the biophysics to explain a living system. They use this disturbed pendulum. It is never stable. It is constantly moving. So when the doshas, they move within the prakriti of the individual, we call it swastha. And this dimension of swastha, S1 and S2, differs from person to person. If they happen to deviate a little bit away from the S1 and S2, then there is the health deviation. And if it stays in the health deviation and goes beyond this health deviation, then there is samprapti and there is vyadhi. Till then, there is no vyadhi. Our concern is health deviation. This is where, even as the previous speaker, Dr. Thakur, told, even for the Rutus, why Panchakarma is needed in the Ritu, and he was telling this is for the health deviated stage. This is the gray area where Ayurvedic people can exploit, because this concept is not very clear in the conventional medicine. They are unable to catch this. And we have got a very good explained compartment, and we can inculcate different therapies into it. Now, this is where in the health division, Vidishonitya is important. This is what Charaka Samhita explains. In Vidishonitya, he does not explain according to the illness, and neither he explains what are the Raktavasechana tools that you have to use. But he impresses upon why Rakta is important, why health of the Rakta is important in comparison to any other dhatus. Rakta is more vulnerable dhatu. We can understand with this chapter that why Shishruta went up the stage to say that Rakta probably a fourth dosha also. You see, if you know this is really true even with my own clinical experience that I have seen. Yes, Rakta has its own speciality. In majority of the people of world population, they are unaware that they are going through the Rakta Dushti. And this Rakta Dushti becomes the major platform for so many other illnesses. I will tell you in the next slide that how in Charaka Samhita he has explained. No doubt he has done what is the importance of the Shuddha Shonita. I will not go to the details of what they have done. The word Vidina Shonitam Jatam Shuddham Bhavati Dehina. This word Jatam is very important. When you do Raktavasechana, a stream of blood is being formed in the hemopoietic system. So that new will be always Shuddha. This is very important. Why we need the periodical Shonitavasechana. But however, he has put a clause, Vidhina. Vidhi he means, he says Samprakashitaha. I have already discussed regarding the Desha, Kala, Okasatnya. According to that, I have explained Ahara Vihara Vidhi. You see, if did Ahara Vidhi, Vihara Vidhi follow, always you will get a Shuddham Raktam Jatam. This is very important. And also, you must be in a position to do the Raktavasechana in a time period. He says it's such a good Shuddha Rakta is very much important to impart good health. Balavarna Sukhayusha, he says, Praninam Pranaha, because Rakta is one of the Dasha Pranayatanas, one of the Pranayatana. He says because the Prana itself, Shonitam hi anuvartate. This is a very beautiful word, and the emphasis why in comparison to any other dhatu, Rakta has been given importance in terms of health. Disease, yes, we know that, but in terms of health. So I will not go, I have just quoted this hemopoietic system, the stem cells and endothelial in Ayurveda, actually in the practice we ignore. So routine practice of bloodletting, that is particularly in Sharadritu, Sharadhi. He says one of the important reasons why there is a Rakta Dushti, he says, Kalecha Anavasechana. The persons are not following. Whenever there is a Rakta Dushti or a tendency of Rakta Dushti in Sharadritu, at that time Raktavasechana should be done. Why? For the sake of maintenance of health. This is not that he has got any illness or disease. For the sake of maintenance of health, if you do not do that, then it may become a reason for Rakta Dushti. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is where we are touching the topic. And if the person is having a good Shuddha Rakta, you see, he has got all the good lux, texture of his body, for example, luster of the body, texture of the skin, including good color complexions, and he has got a very good digestive power. This is important. This is the relation between Rakta and Agni. I keep an emphasis. because avyahata paktha vegam, he has mentioned avyahata pakti is such a good digestion that it cannot be hampered very easily. And then the person will have, he has quoted pushti and bala. It is not only nourishing as a dhatu, bala is connected. This is what I am telling. Most of the autoimmune disorders, connective tissue disorders, they have a connection with the Rakta Dushti. This is my clinical experience also. So it is very much important that he has quoted that if a person has got a good Rakta and what are the nature of a Purusham Vadanti Vishuddha Raktam. Next slide, please. So this particularly intricate relation of Agni also, Charaka also quotes in another instance, after Raktavasechana, when there is a Annapana Vidhi for the patient, Charaka says, Tada Shariram, he says, Anavastita Asrug, Agnireva Visheshena cha, he says, Rakshitavyaha. This is very much important. It is not that you immediately give Santarpana after Raktavasechana. This is what happens. We have blood transfusions. We have like saline, we have glucose transfusions. We do not know the monitoring of Santarpana. When should the Santarpana should be? This is one of the Yojana Chatushka that Charaka Samhita says. Santarpaniyam. After Santarpaniyam only is there. Because if you do not do proper Santarpana in the right time, abnormal Santarpana lead to Rakta Dushti. This is the beauty. That is why after Santarpaniya, Vidishonitya chapter has come. This is very much important. Here Charaka says, you must take care of the Agni. Without looking at Agni, do not do random Santarpana. This is very much, this is the intricate relation between the status of Agni and Rakta Dhatu. That is how most of the hypersensitive disorders we say and autoimmune disorders, they are connected with the Rakta and Agni. Can I have the next slide? I have to little bit hurry because I have a session also in the next hour to attend in a different place. Now, I am just putting the slokas in front of you. What are the reasons? Because it's our lifestyle is causing the Rakta Dushti. Just like he says, Bhuktva Diva Praswapatam. Particularly he says, Drava Snigdha Guruni. The persons of more of the Drava Snigdha and Guru food and immediately goes to the and the others like our emotions, lot of angry situations, stressful situations, or working style, so traumatic conditions, all these Sharatkala Swabhavasya, they are the reasons for, they are considered with the lifestyles. Next slide, please. In the same manner, food is also much important. In the next slide, you can see I have not explained anything. There's a very big list, but there are certain things which are very common for our modern society. Like, for example, Viruddhanam, Upaklinna, Putinam Chapakshanencha. We all consume this preserved, the food which is preserved. We need always ready food. They are always preserved. They are either stored in the freeze. And these Vidahi food and Viruddha Ahara, the combination is also important. We do not know what is being served into it. They are the main causes for Rakta Dushti. Of course, there is a big list that Charaka Samhita has listed. I will not go into the very detail of them. Can I have a next list? Slide, please. So, this is what happens when the Rakta Dushti is there. It is not necessary that it will come out with a full-blown Vyadhi. We will see the symptomatology later on. But it's simple, he says, of course, Rakta Pitta Hari Kriyam we have to do, but he advises Virekam Upavasam cha Sravanam Shonitasya cha. Here Basti has no role. Here Vireka Upavasa and Rakta Sravana. These are the Vireka and Shonitasya Sravanam is the line of treatment when you go to Santarpanottita Vyadhi Chikitsa. He has written Tatra Ullekanam Shastam. Ullekan means Vamana. Virekam Raktamokshanam. You see, there is a relationship between abnormal Santarpana. When I say Santarpana, don't mistake as obesity or Prameya. There is no need. Even a Krisha Vyakti has got some Santarpanottita Vyadhi. There is a list of Santarpanotita Vyadhi you can see and say. So this is the intricate relation between the Rakta Dushti and the abnormal Santarpana also. Because you eat everything without looking into the quality of the food. That is one of the important reasons for Rakta Dushti. Can I have a next slide? There are series of symptomatology. I am not going to read, but only few of them. Forget about the illnesses, Rakta Pitta or Vata Rakta. There are so many other things which are very common, like somebody has got mouth ulcers, very often getting a bad breath, odor in the mouth or in the nose he has got, for example, or somebody has an uncontrolled anger, for example, or he has got problem is making decision. This are abruptly has happened in disease, or some body ache, sleepiness, and these things, even Akshiraga, the sclera of the eye is not really white, and discoloration, minor discoloration, hypersensitivity reactions, some allergies, something has taken and there is some allergic reaction, it went by itself without any medication. But this clinical history is very much important. All this Ayurveda clinical history, we should practice to take some proper Ayurveda clinical history. Otherwise, we miss these health issues. I have just given you to know, we find very common these complaints among the people. They are not considered as really they have any vyadhis, and it is ignored. This is the biggest mistake. And these are the persons, as Charaka says here, that they deserve the Raktavasechana. They are not the sick people, but they are the health issues which needs it. This is the Vidishmanukya. This is what he referred. Can I have the next slide, please? So, of course, these things he has mentioned that when the doshas, they cause the dushti, the Rakta Dushti apparently has to happen by the Dushta dosha, without which it cannot happen. It does not have any such quality like doshas that it can vitiate itself. That is why Rakta is not a dosha. So Dushta doshas has to get into it, and accordingly by the appearance of the Raktas, so there have been characteristics by Vata Dushti like Arunabham, Tanu, for example, Fenila. If it is Kapha Dushti, that it is Tanu Tafa. If it is Pitta, for example, you can test with your prothrombin test. Is it clotting time, bleeding time? If Pitta Dushti is there, naturally there is a prolonged bleeding. So we can objectivize also in this manner also with our knowledge. So it will have its own lakshanas that has been done. Next slide, please. So for the parameters, in this chapter actually Charaka has not explained how to do this, what are the methods and nothing, but he has given the parameters that how much blood, how much prastara that has been removed, he has not mentioned here, but he says there cannot be any such matras. Everything depends upon baladosha pramanadva, by the strength bala of the individual and by the dosha bala. Two things. Vishuddhya, he says, Rudrasyava, Rudiram Sravayet, Jantor Ashayam Prasamikshva. Here Chakrapani has also quoted. Here Ashaya means what Ashaya? Ashaya of the Dushta doshas. That here Ashaya itself, Rakta. How much is the Rakta Dushti? Based on that, that much amount of the Rakta needs to be removed. So you cannot just go on the matra. So ultimately you have to see a Shuddha Rakta. That is the marker. That is the end of the clinical marker that you have to stop it. That's a beautiful idea that has been mentioned here. Next slide, please. So, of course, he has given the characteristics of Shuddha Rakta, as you people all know. Usually they use in the tune of the nature the natural appearances like, but today many people even do not know these millipedes which are called as Indragopam. I don't think that throughout the country all the states have, but few states still have. In South, definitely we have this, the red color millipede, Indragopa, or it will be like Alakta, we have Laksha, or Gunja Phala, at least everybody knows. This is the shade of the color that he says, that is the Shuddha Rakta. But however, these shades will differ, it is not one. But this is the normal range of shade that you consider, okay, from individual to individual it is different, but these are the normal shades that we consider that this is the Shuddha Rakta. So this is the whole concept that I am trying to emphasize, that how we can consider what is the importance of the Rakta Dhatu in health, and why Vidishonita, why he has instructed in Vidishonita chapter among the 4 Yojana Chatushka. Next slide, please. So that is why Vidishonita justifies Yojana Chatushka, because this approach is a totally different clinical approach. In the routine practice of curing illness, you will not find this approach. It is important that the physician, when he gets the training, he must be trained in this. So this Yojana Chatushka is connected with Ashtaunindatiya, beginning with the clinical picture, which is not very usual. So, and then getting to Langana Brahmaniya, Santarpaniyas, and then the Vidishonita. That is how Charaka puts it, because Rakta is Jivita. This is the emphasis. That is why the importance of this Dhatu is given. I think this is what I wanted to present in front of you. Can I have the next slide, please? Yes. So thank you, because I have to rush a little bit. Still, I have about 5-10 minutes. If somebody is hearing and want to ask something, I am here. Otherwise, I need some time, because I will be moving on to the next webinar in Delhi. Yes. Once again, thank you for inviting me, Dr. Malari and Dr. Dr. Gande, and namaste to all of you once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the enlightening session. Such sessions actually motivate us. Thank you, sir. We have some questions, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, it was a very informative session, a beautiful session. So thank you. One question is, sir, actually you just told now that Rakta Dosh, we have to see the markers of Tapani in Indriya Gopabham. So we need to go in for regularly Rakta Mokshana should be done. Is it to be taken like that, sir? Till we fix that, yeah.
When we do the Rakta Mokshana, that is the marker that has been given, that Shuddha Rakta has to appear. This is the marker. When we do the Rakta Mokshana. When we have not done at the Rakta Mokshana, the clinical symptomology what the Charaka has given regarding the Shuddha Shonita Purushasya Lakshana, that we follow. In addition, we also have to see whether the person does not have any such complaints. He may not present. The person may not present. There are minor complaints that he has or she has. That also gives a marker. Of course, indeed, if there is no any lakshanas, but at Sharad is the Rutu where he says to maintain health, Shonita Avasechanya should be done. This is what Charaka says.
Sir, Sushruta has advocated not to do in Swastha. So,
because there is a reason why not to do in Swastha.
Yes.
Unless until you see the vitiation, when you treat the illness, when you see the vitiations, we treat the illness. So if you are not sure that the person does not have Dushita Rakta, then also they say that Rakta Mokshana may not be indicated. But as per the Vidishonitya of the Charaka Samhita, as he say, he says Shuddham Shonitam Jatam is a very good reference, that when you flush out the old debris, the newborn is always Shuddha. This is what the concept of hemopietic system. So when we remove the blood, there is a question, probably somebody asked, I usually pose this question also, why then it is a good habit to donate the blood. So people keep periodically donating the blood, but there is something challenging the ethics of Ayurveda, because the concept of Rakta Dushti is not there in modern medicine. They only look for the infections and other things in the blood. If that is not there, then they consider blood is okay for the transformation. But according to Ayurveda, it is not so. I have seen people, after the blood transformation when it was needed, such people developed strange complaints, for example, of hypersensitivity, cold, which these people never had in their life. You see, that must have already come through that. That was the Dushita Rakta. This is what Charaka emphasizes. And for this reason, he says, Kale Anavasechite is one of the Nidana of Rakta Dushti, according to the Charaka. So, if this is true, then as per Charaka, yes, even the Vyakti does not know that he has the Rakta Dushti. Kale Anavasechana is the ruling out. Because Sharatkala Charaka has told, Swabhavena Dushyam Bhavati Raktam. By its Swabhava itself, in Sharatkala Dusha, then do Rakta Vasechana, not in other seasons. Then do Rakta Vasechana here. This gives an exception. Yeah.
So one question is there from our student. COVID-19 is a thromboinflammatory disorder now, well established. So is there any specific role of Jalokavacharana in COVID-19?
Everything that we adopt, it will be based on avastha. Maybe one article on an e-book which I presented, the COVID-19 in the perspective of Ayurveda. So it is a big draft that I presented. This in Karnataka, Mudubidra Ayurveda College, they have put as an e-book. It is free, probably. I have written a complete article, how to consider this COVID-19. The Vishamavata of the COVID, it changes its pattern. Entire changing pattern appearing different manner is the Vishamata. I entirely put it under Vishama Jwara. And if the Jwara is untreated, this Jwara Thapa, the Ushma of Jwara itself is hampers the Rakta. That is how after the Jwara Chikitsa, Rakta Pitta Chikitsa. It is connected here. So when you definitely, if it has already entered into the Ushmata of the Jwara, to hamper the Ushmata of Jwara is the Sarpi Chikitsa there. If the patient has not done the Sarpi Chikitsa, if that Kshirapana treatment is not then done in the Jwara Chikitsa, then patient definitely enters into the Rakta Pitta state there. And it is this condition which needs to be attended. Even in the modern medicine, they say it is not the virus directly doing this. It is the post-viral load which is causing these problems. And those post-viral load needs to be identified and tackled. The conventional medicine does not have these procedures. If you follow Ayurveda, then we have. If the patient has entered that Rakta Dushti stage, yes, Rakta Visravana, looking into the Bala, he has already told, Bala Parikshana done and Dushti Lakshana done, and then it should have. Yes.
So in general, sir, though it's given Sadethera Pal in Granthas, but considering nowadays situation, like any suggestions about seeing Bala, how to remove, how much blood should be removed? Like
that only thing, that is what I quoted this. It is not Pala or Prasthara that Charaka has quoted here in Vidishwanitya. He has given only 3 guidelines, he said. He said, you look into the Rogi Bala, and he says Dosha Bala, and then you look into the Ashaya Dushti, Dosha Dushti. If it is purely located in the Rakta, you have the pass, you have the visa, you remove the blood out. So what extent of Rakta Dushti is there, that extent should come out. That is the right parameter. This is what Charaka says. Of course, we have to look into these things, how much we have removed and what is the strength going on with the patient. We should not go eyes closed always. That needs to be counted and kept, but this is the better guidelines. Yes.
Sir, could you give your expert opinion, please, on efficacy of Nasya or Vamana in novel COVID-19? Urdu Avastha Vyadhi, sir. It's manifesting into the Urdu.
Yes. This I also gave once the Ayush has released, I sent an email message also. These guidelines should be taken very carefully. If the patient is in the Amavastha, if the patient is in the recent onset, there is Jwara fever also, there actually Nasya should not be advised, particularly Sneha Nasya, no. If the patient does not have the Jwara, or if patient does not have the Ama condition, as a prevention, definitely Sneha Nasya will help there. So we need to categorize the avasthan. That is why I call ethical practice of Ayurveda according to the Shastra is very much important. Vamana definitely helps, but when Vamana helps, in the Navajvara, only Vamana helps. There Sadhyo Vamana. You need not have to do even the Snehapanas, because it is an Amashayotha Vyadhi and there is Utklesha. There is a Swabhavika Utklesha. If you do immediate Vamana, then lot of things you will be bypassing. Your post complications are bypassing. But when you miss this, then later on, no Vamana. Because Jnanavastha you have to protect. There will be tendency of Vata Prakopaka also. There is no Vamana done there. You have to go slowly, step by step, on the basis of Avasthanusari. Yes.
So one more question about the autoimmune diseases you said. So now scleroderma and SLE, like otherwise this Crest disease and all actually. So how can we tackle with Panchakarma, sir? Any guidance on that, sir?
Yes, no doubt the scleroderma or systemic sclerosis, which is called, is definitely has the Rakta Drishti. We definitely had experience previously in the Jamnagar Ayurveda University Hospital. When I was handling these conditions, I consider them under Vata Rakta concept. This is where autoimmune connected to disordered fall. Not just Amvata or what usually been correlated as gout, no. The entire autoimmune disorders, they fall under Vata Rakta. Rakta is responsible for the immune function. That is the Bala. That is what Charaka is referring. So definitely Rakta Mokshana helps. But here, this is not everything here. It's a huge Samprapti complex in such conditions. Their entire Panchakarma definitely helps. And Gatatva of this Vata Rakta, Utthana Gata is scleroderma. Gambhira Gata, they already affects the joints. It affects even intestine. It affects the blood vessels also. It affects the bronchial. It affects the kidney. So all these things we have. My experience, I have done beginning with Vamana. Even the Jalauka Vacharana to the patient we have done for the systemic sclerosis patient in Jamnagar. And we have got very good result. For example, the patient coming from England, even the autoimmune, it is Royal Brompton Hospital, the main lady who is handling with the connective tissue disorders, and she kept this patient only for observation without any medication. And periodically this lady came to Jamnagar and we did the treatment and followed up for years together. Till today the patient is in my contact. It is more than now 15 years. Patient is healthy. Patient does not need any medicine. This says that this Panchakarma and also Ashaya Apeksha, Rakta Mokshana, does help us. So definitely it is not just Jalauka Avacharana. Actually, we have ignored this topic a lot. All the Vaidyas of India, we are not doing it. Actually, it has got a very beautiful benefits, and one of the beautiful is in the Vidishamritya that Charaka has explored into the health benefits is also very much worth to be implemented and looked into in the clinical practice. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, welcome. Thanks a lot. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Now I hand over the session to Dr. Kundan Chaudhary, sir, for thanking note.
Thank you, Dr. Daksha. It is my privilege to deliver the thanking note on behalf of our department. We are sincerely obliged to our parent institute, Chautar Vidya Mandal, which has always encouraged various academic activities for the benefit of students and teachers. We are very much grateful to the chairman, engineer, Sri Bhikubhai Patel sir, and all the dignitaries of the CBU. We are extremely thankful to Professor Dr. Anup Thakur sir, Director and VC IPGT and RAGAU, Jamnagar, who, in spite of his busy schedule, took out time to bless us with his magical words. Sir, we are falling short of words to express our gratitude. We are exceptionally thankful to Professor Dr. Srinivas Hejmani Acharya sir, Distinguished Professor, Panchakarma, All India Institute of Ayurveda, under Ayush Ministry, who on a very short notice accepted our invitation without hesitation and guided us on a beautiful topic. Thank you, sir. We are personally thankful to our pillar of strength, Principal Dr. Malhari Sardesh Pandey sir, who has guided us on various fronts for the success of this event. We are grateful to our team of GJ PIASR, who is always with us through thick and thin. And last but never the least, the viewers of this webinar, we are extremely thankful to all the participants who made the event viable. Thank you one and all. Before concluding, a gentle request to all the participants to fill the feedback form. The link is open for the next 15 minutes. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, sir.
Close कर देता हूँ मैं।